There's a super featherweight showdown between two world-ranked opponents in Paul Fleming and Billel Dib. We're looking forward to this coming to Penrith, back at the Evan Theatre, where boxing used to take place in the day, and we're looking forward to returning for what is an outstanding clash between two world-ranked opponents. You'll see it on the 30th of November. It's a Wednesday night, live on Fox Sports and on KO Sports as well. Ben Damon's my name for a main event in Fox Sports. Really looking forward to calling the action. It's been a fantastic year for Australian boxing, and it does continue with some really good events right up until the end of this year, and none better than this star-studded clash with a good undercard as well. Paul Fleming, one of the most entertaining boxers in the country, and Billel Dib, 26-3, he's number 14 in the world, and will be very confident of upsetting Fleming and winning this fight. It's an outstanding main event, a really good card being put together as well, and of course it is all brought to you by D&L Boxing Promotions. The boss there is Dean Lonergan, who joins me here up at the front table. Dean, it must have been a bit of work to get this fight put together, because as the poster says, there is some bad blood.
A lot of bad blood between these two. I don't quite know where it stems from, but I'm sure we're going to find out as we go. The great thing about this fight, we made this thing about maybe 2 months ago. We got the contract signed, so these guys have had plenty of time to be prepared, and I know both of them in training camp right now, and I know they're both going very, very well. It's a really unusual fight in so much on one side over here, I've got a guy who's 28-0-1 and is the CEO of his own company, and over here on my left, and this is unusual, I've got an accountant, and it's not every day you get the CEO of a company and accountant sort of jumping in the ring together, and they've got the experience that they have. But looking forward to it. I think Paul, over the years, he's had now 14 years as a professional. He's been internationally doing his stuff. And at 28-0-1, mate, he probably should be in a better position than what he is. So looking forward to what happens on this fight. Billel, with his record, I think it's 26-3, 29 fights, never been stopped. This is going to be one heck of a fight, and actually can't wait to see it. We've got, as you said, Benny, we've got a really, really good undercard. Luke Boyd over here on my right, Boyd, he's now 10-0. And I think he's got 10 stoppages. That's pretty damn impressive. He's up against a very durable character in North Beauchamp. Munro Matted over there against Jackson John England. Flemo fought Jackson John England on the Sonny Bill undercard. It was a sensational fight and stole the night. So, and also Kai McKenzie. We've got a great fight lined up for Kai. We're just waiting for the signature from one particular guy. So we think it's a great fight card. A lot of these guys, they're all Sydney boys. A lot of them come from Penrith. And it's going to be one heck of a night of fights out here at Evans Theatre. Yeah, looking forward to it. Dean, just talk to us about this main event and what it means, because we've got the number 11 and 12 in the world with Fleming, with the WBA and the IBF respectively, and Dib is number 14 with both the IBF and the WBA, so there's a lot on the line for these two fighters. What do you expect a win does for their careers? Realistically, it'll put the winner into easily the top 10, maybe top 8 in the world. Once you get to that position, you're only 2 or 3 fights away from a world title, because you just got to get to that number 2 spot or number 1 spot. Particularly with the IBF, they stick very, very closely to their rules, and so long as you fight the right guys on the way up. So it's a heck of a big fight. The great thing about Australian boxing is super-featherweight. There are some great fighters in that division, and there's some great fights to be had. I know Fleming will be talking about that a little later, and probably Billel as well. And Ben, no one knows better than you just how strong that division is. Let's talk about coming back here to Penrith, Dean, because it's somewhere we used to have fights all the time back in the day, but we're back here at the home of the Rugby League Premiers at Panthers, looking forward to a fight back at the Evan Theatre. What was the decision to come back here to Western Sydney? Just the fact that we've got a lot of Sydney boys come from this region and this area, and they're very, very, very good boxers, and the two we've got on the main card are world class. Boydie's on his way. You've got Kai McKenzie come from out of this area. And the theatre itself, I fell in love with it the second I saw it. It holds about 800. We expect to have it absolutely shoulder to shoulder, and the atmosphere in there is going to be nothing short of spectacular. So a combination of location, the fact a lot of the boys come out here, and I just absolutely love the venue. It's intimate. I'm assuming you've seen a number of shows there, and I think you're going to have one hell of a crowd and a heck of a lot of noise on the night. Dean, you would have had a good look at this main event. What do you think happens? Because people have their own opinions. I'm sure everyone in this room has a strong opinion one way or another as the promoter. What are you expecting to see on the night? I expect to see fireworks. Especially I've seen quite a few fights of Paul's now, and he comes to fight. He calls himself Showtime, but you don't get to be the position in the world that Billel is without being a very good fighter himself. And I think 26-3, never been stopped, tells you plenty about his ability as a fighter. Like I said, there's a bit of bad blood between these two, and I expect an all-out war. I'd like to see a stoppage, to be bluntly honest, because that's what boxing fans love to see. But what I do know, we're going to see one heck of a fight. You're going to see a lot of boxing ability, a lot of heart, a lot of technical stuff, but you're also going to be one hell of an entertaining fight because you've got two world-class guys going head-to-head.
So the best place to watch this fight, of course, will be on Fox Sports and KO Sports. This is not a pay-per-view event. This will not be on main event. It's on Fox Sports and on KO as well. But Dean, I'm sure that you'll like people to get towards tickets and as soon as possible.
Tickets go on sale at Ticketek this Friday, so you'll be able to come along to Evans Theatre Live. And there's nothing like watching boxing live because you can in a theatre like this, no matter where you sit, you're going to hear the punches, and that's something quite awesome when when you get world-class guys like these two going head-to-head.
All right, thanks so much. That's Dean Lonergan, the promoter of this event. This is at Super-Featherweight. They're both world ranked and highly ranked as well, so there is a lot on the line with two really familiar names and two gentlemen who've been around Australian boxing for a very, very long time. I'll start with Billel Dib. He's 26-3 as a professional. He's number 14 in the world with both the IBF and with the WBA. And Billel, this is a really exciting fight, but it is called Bad Blood. We've all seen the social media video of the pair of you giving each other a spray after Paul Fleming's recent fight. Where does it all stem from?
Yeah, it's a great fight. It's a fight that I'm looking forward to. It's a fight that I've asked for a long time. So 6 weeks to go, and I think it's a fight that everyone wants to see. So I'm excited. I'm sure he's excited. But this is his first fight with D&L, I'm pretty sure. And I guess I'm going to show them that they signed the wrong dude. So I'm here to get rid of him and just keep his mouth shut because he talks a lot.
Why is it a fight that you've wanted for so long? Is there something you see in Paul, or is it more to do with that animosity we mentioned?
No, you know what? Originally, I've never even thought of fighting Paul because we were good friends for a long time. He actually called me one night a few years ago and asked me if I wanted to. There was COVID and there was no fights. He said we're both world rated, so let's fight each other. And I said, you know what? That sounds great. Let's do it. We'll keep the brotherhood, and that's fine. It's just business. But then when negotiations started, he started lying to the people and telling everyone that it was my fault, it wasn't happening, and I don't like dishonesty. So
is it fair to say that the friendship has completely been out the window?
100%. I can't be friends with a person that's got no honesty and no integrity.
What do you think of him as a boxer? We've seen Paul around for so very long. Do you think that he has much left in the professional boxing ring?
Yeah, definitely. Paul can fight. I've never taken that away from him, but so can I. And I'm going to show that I can fight better than he can. So, you know what? He can fight, but I can make this an easy fight, and I will.
What do you think happens in this fight? How do you see it ending when you've looked into the future and had a look at yourself against Paul Fleming?
I feel like I could stop him. I feel like I could beat him in his own game. I could beat him on points. It doesn't really matter. A win's a win, and that's all I'm after. I just want to win.
And what would that feel like to you? Because it's a big fight and it's live on television around the country and it's a really big stage.
I look at every fight like it's a world title fight at the stage of my career. I'm 33 years old, so every fight is as important as the other. So whether it's Paul Fleming or whether it's whoever else in the other corner, I take every fight. I put 100% to every fight, and I need to win every fight from here on out. So Paul's not going to be any exception. I'm not just going to beat him, I might beat him up.
Do you want to give a message to Paul Fleming? This might be the last time you see him before fight week. Any thoughts for Paul as he heads into the latter part of his preparations?
No, there's no message. Just it's a basic message that I give to everyone. Just make sure you're ready. I'm going to tax that ass.
Now.
Fantastic. That's Billel Dib. So one half of this main event. 28-0-1 is the professional boxing record of the undefeated Paul Fleming. He is number 11 with the WBA, number 12 with the IBF. And as I've said, he's a very familiar face that's been around the top of Australian boxing for a very, very long time and one of the most entertaining and exciting fighters we've produced in recent years. Paul, great to see you again. This is a really exciting fight. Is it one that you've been looking at for a long time, as Billel has?
Yeah, look, thanks very much for having us. Firstly, I'd like to pay my respects to the traditional owners of this land, the Darug people. Look, I'm just keen to make the best fights and the most interesting fights. I think this fight's interesting. I'm interested to see how he thinks he's going to beat me, because I don't think he can outbox me, and my last few fights, I don't think he can outpunch me, but we'll see.
Definitely will see.
He had a few other things to say there, particularly about your honesty. Do you have any response to some claims that were just made there by Billel Dib?
I have nothing to do with the negotiations and nothing. I just call it how it's portrayed to me. And he went home. The negotiations were happening. He didn't like it. He went home. Jackson England put his hand up, and we got it on. We could have got it on, but he decided he went home.
Listen, Jared's here, right? Jared's his manager.
Things happen, brother. If you wanted to make the fight happen, you've got to make the fight happen.
That's fine. Let's talk fact. You just said something, and let's talk the fact.
I shut up while you talked the whole time
That's fine.
and ran your mouth.
That's all right.
So let me talk my bit.
When I can, I can't talk.
Oh my God.
Talk.
All right,
Fact is-
he's a little Cinderella
Fact is
little
that we're
girl
meant to fight.
who wants to whinge about everything. He wants a specific type of gloves. I want this. Can I
That's a lie.
have chocolate
Again.
chocolate dipped strawberries in my change room?
Listen,
Like,
man,
what does
mate.
this guy want? Just
I
fight.
agree to everything.
You're
you said.
inactive.
I agree.
You haven't been on
Okay,
any cards
3 months
because
ago.
you carry on. Just
3 months
fight.
ago. Listen,
You
end of
fought
the day,
3
hold on,
months
hold on.
ago
We were meant to fight.
at a
We were meant to
PCYC
fight.
thing because you can't get in any fights because you carry on too much.
His
Just
team-
shut up and fight.
His team called me when I was in training camp for 5 weeks for our fight. His team called me and said, listen, apologies. You have to accept my apology.
Mhm.
My fault it didn't happen. This is from his team. It's my fault it didn't happen. But let's try and make it in the future. And I said, what do you mean? I'm here. I've been here for 5 weeks. What do you mean the fight's not happening? So it didn't happen because of them. I leave and go back home to Queensland because I get told by his team that it's not happening.
You make
3
the
4 days
fights
later, he
happen.
announces a fight with Jackson England. He went and fought a featherweight.
You make the
on,
fights
man.
happen, brother.
Come on, man.
You make the
don't
fights
just say much.
happen.
I'll force you in the ring.
You make the fights
Who
happen.
knows?
You
might
know how
fall
many
out anyway.
times I've fought
You might
for
fall out
free?
right now. Who knows?
You know how many times I've fought for
Right,
free?
mate. We've all been there. We've all been
Okay.
down there. That's what it takes. To
Okay,
go.
so if you wanted to make the fight happen, you could have made the fight happen. But you
What
went
are we
home.
doing?
And then you
What are
rocked
we
up at
doing?
the fight, having a sook.
No, look, I just wanted to approach it.
You-
You're a fraud, because that's what you
Brother, you had a sook out of the ring, everyone's seen it.
Listen, Fleming.
You're sad that you weren't on the other side getting a touch up.
People in your
You went
own
over the
team,
other side of the ring,
People
getting
in
a
your
touch
own
up.
team will be listening to me right now and saying, you know what, he actually is a fraud.
Oh,
Because you are. That's what
come
type
on.
of person you are.
Brother,
You
I
want
have
handouts?
nothing to do with
You want
negotiations.
handouts?
I
Then you
rock
might get
up-
off your ass and do some
I
things.
rock up to the gym You're fighting this guy.
Rock
Yeah,
up to the
sweet.
fight.
You
November
rock
30,
up and
make sure you're there. November
every
30,
single
be there.
time they've said who you fighting? Bruno, 2 years off. Yeah,
You
right.
quit. And you quit.
I quit.
You quit.
I had
You couldn't say
I had the
it.
biggest
Come on.
gash on my. Anyway,
Come on,
I'm not
man.
gonna even
Come on,
go
man.
back and
Quit,
forth with you
brother.
about that
Quit.
shit. You look at it. Look at it on the. Look at it on the thing. Whatever.
I will jump in,
Whatever.
guys. Flemo,
Did I quit in the Jackson? Brother, Jackson England will punch holes in you. What are you on about? Jackson England will punch holes in you. Come on, boy.
You're gonna wait till it holds it up.
Paul, is it fair to say that you were friends at a point, you and Billel?
Brother, I never even had I didn't even know he had an issue until he rocked up at the fights after I jumped out the ring and had a little cry. I didn't even know there was an
Of
issue.
course you didn't. You got no.
He went home. For all I know, that the fight was happening, you're fighting Billel. Oh no, that fight's not happening, he's gone home, you're fighting Jackson England now.
Well, then
Okay.
Your people are lying to you.
Brother, I just get told
No,
what
I
I
don't
get
think they
told.
are.
I have nothing to do with negotiations. I'm not a tax man. I'm not a businessman. I just do the fighting. I'm a
I
fighter.
thought you were a CEO.
Oh, well, listen, I am a CEO. I'm not, listen, I'm not the businessman. I sign the checks, I sign the things, brother.
You either
And
are or you're not. You can't make up what you want at
Brother,
this time
brother,
to suit you. What
I've
is
never been a businessman, but I'm
What
giving
is
it a crack, brother.
What is
I'm
it?
giving it. I don't
Are
have
you
an
a CEO or
education
you're not a
like you.
businessman?
I don't have a brother. You.
Life
This
is
is
about
why
choices,
he
brother.
after this fight,
Life is
you
about
should go
choices.
be a tax man.
Life is
Just
about choices,
quit
brother.
and be a tax man.
That's fine. I can do both. Like I am now.
But
Watch me beat your ass too.
You can do. You
I
can
told
do
you I'll tax that
both.
out.
Your last fight. Who did you fight? Your last fight,
Who did you fight? You fought the featherweight.
brother. They brought this guy over
That
from
was it.
Timbuktu,
That's fine.
and you look.
That's
The
fine.
fight looked shit.
That's
I'm not gonna
fine.
lie.
Yeah, fine.
Was anyone impressed with it? Is there
Fine.
anyone
Make it
out
boring.
there that's
Fine.
watching this that would watch that fight and go, I was impressed with Billel Dib? Please message me and say that Of course you'd say it.
You're
You're the
fine,
only one.
fine.
You're the only one of your team that put the hand up. You're the his trainer here didn't even put his hand up. It was just you.
Let me tell
So
you.
you're the only one that put your
Let
hand
me
up.
tell
His
you
other trainers did. Now no one else put it.
Hey.
Billy didn't even put his hand up when they said.
Boxing is a
So no
sweet
one
science.
even thinks that he was good. That fight was good.
Boxing is a sweet science. If you sit there and get hit and
Sweet
take punishment,
science.
you can do that, brother. You want to be exciting? Be exciting.
Hey,
I am
Paul,
excited.
Watch me make you.
And that's
watch me
why
make
I'm
you
getting the
easy.
fights. You should
Paul,
be
watch me
thankful.
make-
You should be thankful that you're on this card. You can't
This
even
fight
get on
happening-
TV
this
fights.
fight happening because people want to
You can't
This
even.
fight-
They want to see me fight
Nah,
whoever I
Bobby.
fight.
Fights here because
When is the last time anyone's ever said, "Man, I really want to see Billel Dib fight on this card.
They might set it up.
When have you ever seen a televised Fox card and they go, man, you know what would make this fight card even better? Billel Dib. Not one person has ever said that ever in the history of boxing. But they say it when the cards are on. When I'm like, oh, Fleming needs me on this
I
card.
said that your fight was exciting, but that's
Come on.
fine.
Your fight, and I'm saying your fights are crap.
And guess what?
Your last fight was crap. You said my fight's exciting.
why
I'm being
you're
honest. Your last fight
That's why
was
you're
crap.
I am enjoying this very much, but Paul, he said that he sees himself potentially knocking you out in this fight. What do you see at the end of this fight?
Never have I ever been. I mean, listen. Many have tried and many have failed. This guy couldn't even knock a top off a custard, man. I've sparred this guy. I sparred this guy. He's never even beaten me in a spar, ever. He's never even got it over me once when we sparred. When?
Load of shit.
When?
Load of shit.
When? Come on, man.
Load of shit.
Come
We've
on,
done
man. Never has he. How's he going to beat me?
You know what?
Is he going to outbox
Hey, let me tell
me?
you something.
When is he going to outbox me? When has he ever outboxed me?
Let me tell you something.
And he's gonna listen. All your team's game plan. This is how you beat Fleming, right? You gotta pressure him. You gotta come forward. You gotta pressure him. You gotta put pressure on him. Look what happened to the last two guys that put pressure on him. So come, you can't even. What's your punch out put in your fights? What's your punch out put in your fights?
Recreational stuff you're taking is really
Come on, man. What's your punch out put in your
All that
fights?
stuff's really
What's your punch out put in your fights?
It
Look at the
doesn't matter.
statistics.
That doesn't
All you gotta do
matter.
is look at statistics.
That doesn't matter.
And watch the fights. Guys,
That doesn't matter.
do you a favor. Go and watch his fight and then go watch my
Like I
fight.
said, man, it's affecting
You
your
fought
fight.
some guy,
Your mind
some
state.
Fijian guy that they brought over here, and then he took you.
And
How many
and you fought
rounds?
featherweight.
How many rounds
And
did
you
it
fought
take you to get him
featherweight.
out of there?
We got a mutual
Come on,
opponent.
man.
You quit, like I said. For
Come
everyone
on,
to see.
man.
For everyone to see.
Come on,
And we
man.
know what happened when I had that fight.
Bruno will plaster you now. What do you
Yeah,
want
sure.
about? Bruno will plaster you.
I don't even want to speak about Bruno.
Bruno
I'm
will
going
plaster
friends.
you.
Sorry,
You
guys.
want-
Paul, what's at stake in this fight, mate? We've mentioned the world rankings. We've mentioned where you both are in your professional boxing careers. How important is this fight for both of you, and particularly for you and where you're at?
I just want, like I said, I just want to make interesting fights, and I've proved that. I've made the interesting fights. You know, I didn't have to take that last fight. I had an injury in my last fight, but I still did it. I still took the fight. Didn't say anything about it. I'm just here to make the fights happen and make the best fights. And like I said, every time I'm on a card, no matter who's on the card, my fights are the most exciting fights. Everyone will say that.
And that's why you talk the way you do.
And that's talk the way I do.
You sound like a spastic. Have you heard yourself?
Okay.
Not sure
Okay.
about, not sure about that.
Okay.
But all right, we might.
That's
just,
derogatory. That's derogatory, brother. You don't talk about people
mean,
like that.
listen,
What about
like I
there's
said,
disabled
you're
people out there, brother? You don't
recreational
say things like that.
Don't twist things,
Ah,
man.
don't talk, you
Don't
just
try-
said that. That's
don't try to
derogatory.
my family.
You're a
Don't
clown.
try and
You're a
talk.
clown.
Twist things.
All right,
Clown.
guys, we might just finish with.
See, that's what these type of people do. They rock up and they mob you outside of the ring. You and your team, that you mob people. You and your team, they mob people outside the ring. Oh, please. You're part of the team. You're part of the team. I mean you, boy. I mean you, boy. You rock up outside the ring. You rock up outside of the ring. You rock outside. You rock out the foot races.
You're doing it now.
I said you people, as in your team. You rock up outside of the ring and you have a go.
All
You
right,
wait till I
guys.
punch holes in
With all your
Gentlemen.
crew around, you couldn't pull me. Listen, if you wanted to have a go, if you wanted to fight, you could have pulled me up out the back like a man. But you had to have all your team around me having a go. Piece of shit. Whatever. What? You people. I said you people, your team. Racist, please.
Well, if we can take that. Well, this is obviously going to continue. We will wrap up the press conference there. There's a lot of feeling quite clearly. It's a really good fight at Super-Featherweight. Look forward to bringing it to you.
That's how I'm explaining it. You don't want to listen? You don't want to listen?
We fed you, man.
I said your
put you
team.
in our home.
Did he not
Fed
did he
you
not mob me after
My
the
mum and dad
fight?
fed you, brother.
Did he not mob me after the fight?
Bro, I don't know about that, but you
Ah,
said
yeah, well, there you
you're
go.
saying you
There you go.
Some people are
Please.
shut their feet into it about that. Go
You
away.
look scared, man. Honestly, what? You look
Please, please, whatever.
You're not scared to stand around and box his head off.
You what?
Yeah.
No, Fleming.
Please.
Leave it,
No,
Fleming.
no.
Go start a GoFundMe page
Well
on
done, Paul.
Facebook.
Well done, Paul. Well done, Paul. You're a man on your
Yeah,
own.
go start a
Man of
GoFundMe
his
page.
own. Why are you getting up on him? Why are you
We're
getting up
coming
on
supporting
him?
our mate and you're saying use, pulling out the race card.
Don't get up on him.
Yeah, who's the one that helped you financially, yeah?
What are you talking for? What are you even
I came in respecting both of you, but you're talking shit.
You're a racist
Hey,
dog.
how about my cousin? Hey,
Racist
wait,
dog.
how about my cousin's boots? They gave me $300 in WA when you got knocked down round one. You didn't even post them to him. You're bum.
Racist prick, bro.
We're being quiet, but he's pulling out the race card,
Racist.
calling us yous. None of you people helped him financially back then.
There you go.